So, one thing I find pretty interesting about living in Thailand is that they have more of a monarchy governmental system. So, they have a king and a queen here. Now, what I find interesting about this is the fact that their whole, I know at least in Chiang Mai, from what I've experienced so far, is that their kingdom is actually doing things to benefit them as a people. They make sure they take care of their Thai people, which is something that is supposed to be happening in America. Your government is supposed to be working for you, not you working for your government. And essentially, that's what is pretty much how everything, how society pretty much works here in Thailand, is where if Thailand brings in more money, more tourists, more whatever the case, that money is seen being spent on the Thai people. So whether it be like, renovations, whether that be freaking like just new things popping up in the area, it's made so that society is more comfortable to live in, and that it's more convenient. Things are more convenient for people, so that if you don't have a lot of money and you don't make a lot of money, it's still a livable excuse me, a livable society for you to live in. Versus in America, they want you to fight for fight over money, fight to be greedy, fight to be gluttonous, fight to, they want you to be overly stimulated when it comes to, your work environment, when it comes to just everything. And I mean overly stimulated as in there's so much going on to where you're just anxious all the time, you're stressed all the time, you have so much going on in your family. A day-to-day life of an American compared to a day-to-day. Now, I'm not saying that Thai people don't have their own struggles, but what I'm saying is you can see how governmentally or politically how things are ran here versus how things are ran in America, where your government is not, they want you to suffer in some way because they want to make the money from you. They're living off of you. They're not you living off of them. And their government, you're supposed to be living off your government, or at least your society is supposed to be uplifting you in a way to where you have your own business. You're able to, at least have shelter, at least have food, at least have the things that you need to be accommodated for survival, right? Because naturally, I feel like as human beings, that's what we are supposed to be doing for each other, and how we're supposed to be truly living is living in a way that's more harmonious. But we're not in America. They're not in America. Okay? So I'm only saying this because it's coming to a time and a moment and a place and a position, alignment, to where we are starting to have a deeper understanding as to why we should be venturing out to new places, experiencing new things, experiencing new cultures. It's available to you. Okay? There's a will. If there's a mother, if you really want to do something, you're going to find a way to do it. If you really want to experience something, you're going to find a way to experience it. But what keeps you from experiencing certain things is the blockages you have in your mind that you're not capable of doing it. But you are very capable. Very, very capable. But it's the simple fact that we've been conditioned to think that we're not. And that's where the issue comes in. That's where the issue comes in, to think that we're not capable of living the lives that we deserve to live. Being here in Chiang Mai, I've been here for 10 days. I'm already more elevated. I'm already at more peace. I've already figured and came to so many different conclusions within myself about who I am as a person and how I need to proceed and move forward. I've realized where some of my insecurities still kind of, pull me, try to attempt attempt to pull me into a way of thinking, but because I've elevated so much in my mind, elevated so much in my thinking, elevated so much in my perspective and who I am as a being, that I don't allow those things to promiscuize. That's probably not a word, but I just made it up and it sounds good. So, promiscuize my mindset. And I mean, that is the seduction of how I think and how I feel. I'm not going to let outside, of course, the outside is going to influence us every day in every way. But when we gain control over the way we think and the way we feel, okay, the way we think and the way we feel, we are able to change and shift our perspective in how we experience life. But it's just the simple fact that we block those experiences from happening because we don't allow our thoughts to freely flow, because we're so in the mindset that we can't experience life the way we need to. And that's what limits us. Okay? So what I'm saying and why I'm saying is that it's time for a lot of us to be dropping our guard into this defense of like mindset that we are a certain type of person, and we're all types of people, and we all relate to each other in different types of ways. I'm learning that just by being in another country, is that I don't relate to everybody the same, and it's pulling different sides and different perspectives of who I am out, because I was raised to think that I'm just this hood girl born in this country. Well, I mean, like, I'm from Charlotte, so it's a little more city, but born still, it's the country. If you talk to somebody who's from like New York or up north somewhere, they'll be like, it's still the country. And people from here, or not from here, but from here too, but mostly from like the UK, I've mostly been hearing like people be like, I love your accent. You just, you sound southern. You sound southern. And I'm like, I must really sound. I don't feel like I'm that country, but if I do, it's cool, because I like a little, country slang. I don't mind it. And I hear people say my accent sounds from just different places, and I look like I'm from a different place. So it's just, I'm pretty sure it kind of like stirs the subconscious up. It probably makes you be like, what the hell is going on? What is that? And I like it. I like it a lot. So being able to experience life, from different people, and seeing how they live life and what they're experiencing in life and how they're experiencing it, right? The things they're doing. It's so many, I've met a lot of young people who are traveling right now. And I think that's so interesting, because like, they're young and they're able to broaden their perspective in their mind. That plane is really loud. And I think that's so beautiful, and I'm like, oh, if only I got to like travel when I was young, and like got to not be feel like I was so confined and constricted to just like everything, really. But it's amazing living here in Chiang Mai. It's been amazing. I've been meeting amazing people, and everybody has been like, I feel like in America, even when you cool with somebody, there's that like little thing that like, it's like that like trauma that you still see. I'm really observant of things, so it's like that little background trauma that you be like, where they're like kind of either condescending, passive aggressive. It's something there though, that you're like, what made you say that? Like, that was kind of like, you didn't need to say that. But the people I've been meeting here, they don't do that. They don't do that. They just like, they don't, I don't, it's kind of like more, because I guess I don't understand like their mindset, where they're from. Like, it's interesting observing their like more shadow sides, and it's like they don't have like the same type of traumas or experiences, or you know, we can relate to each other, but in beautiful ways. And I think that's so crazy. I think that's so crazy. And I love that. I love that we're not I'm not trauma bonding every 5 seconds. I'm literally I feel like that's what true connection is when you're relating to people for who you truly are authentically and who they truly are authentically. And it's not, oh, I went through this and I went through that, and it's okay to share experiences and how you've learned from them, but it it gets kind of like misconstrued with your connection when you're just relating how you went through some of the same things, and like you both felt similar naturally in those same situations. And it's kind of like, yes, we grew up in the hood. Yes, we were were raised by single moms, single grandparents, or whatever the case. Whatever the case, type of situation, a lot of the times it's the same story over and over. And I'm not saying that that doesn't have some type of like deeper connection. Of course it does, but it's not. We have to realize that we were put in certain places systematically to learn lessons systematically, right? And I don't mean systematically as in governmentally. I mean systematically as in connection and relativity, yes, words, on how we connect to each other in the system of internal thoughts, and just cosmically on how we connect to each other, because we are connected to each other regardless of what superior race. I don't care what race you are in. There's a lot of mindsets going around that there's a superior race. Look, listen, no, I don't believe in superiority and inferiority. I believe that lessons, okay, I believe that lessons can be learned. And I believe that some people get stuck in a lot of the same cycles, and some people have overcome a lot of those cycles, which help you extend your subconscious or your conscious in general, right? So it puts you in a place to where you're more expansive, but that doesn't make you more better or least than somebody. It makes you more able to expand to where you have more of an open thought pattern or open mindset, to where you can see certain perceptions in different angles, and you can see certain things, and you can relate to people and connect with people in certain ways and certain things. And I don't just mean people as in the physical. I mean all things, all entities, all energies. And when you learn expansion, you truly learn how to connect on a deeper level with yourself, and then everything that's outwardly, right? Outwardly consciously perceived. So that's why these lessons are important for us, because when we are able to learn from these things, we're able to truly break cycles. And when we're able to break cycles, you are able to, because you got to think about what a cycle is. A cycle is you in this loop. You're going around and around and around and around, and you keep going around and around until you realize there's another way, there's another path, there's another perspective, there's another thought pattern, there's another way of looking at things. And then you stop going around that. Think about those roundabouts. Just imagine if you never seen or even knew that there was another path out of that roundabout, and you just kept going in the same loop, in the same circle, over and over and over and over again, until you had this understanding that, wait a minute, I can take a different direction, and I can end up in a different way, in a different path. I feel like anytime I interact or connect with a roundabout, like when I was driving, when I was living in America, of course, and I would go to a roundabout, and I'd be like, I hate these, because like you just get lost, right? You feel like I can easily get trapped in this. But then you realize that, okay, if you pay attention to your really your internal guidance system, not the GPS, because when you rely on the internet, you just rely on that to guide you in your life. But when you rely on internal guidance, then you're able to know that you have the World Wide Web inside of you, right? So when you listen to that GPS, internal GPS, you are guided outside of that loop or that cycle. Then you're able to see a different path, and you're able to see different things from different perspectives, getting you to that destination that you need to go. So I find it very valuable to learn lessons and learn from the things that we experience in life, because it's magnificent, and if we truly learn to embrace it and not judge and not always contradict ourselves. Being here in Chiang Mai has made me learn that I can sometimes be very contradictory to who I am as a being. But when you truly have the understanding that you are more than just the physical, you can kind of look past a lot of those. I've realized, like, the more I stick to and I practice that positive thought, or that intuition, or that love, or I focus on that love that I have inside of myself, then that is what's the strongest in my mind when I'm feeling those lower moments, or that lack of confidence in myself. I feel this, I feel and I hear, and I'm like, I feel this, like, but when I was here, I was like, I can't speak the language. People seem like they don't vibe with me. I don't have any friends. Like, I feel vulnerable right now. I feel like I'm not going to connect with anybody here. I just had these thoughts, these negative thoughts when I got here. Oh my gosh. And I'm like, now that I've like been able to make friends and meet people and like venture out more into Chiang Mai, it's been amazing. And I want to keep venturing out, and I want to keep experiencing things. And I also, like, when those thoughts would come up, I would immediately hear this voice be like, You know, it's like that true melanated mother that comes in and she's like, what you doing? What you doing? What you thinking? How you thinking, and why you thinking? Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now, we wouldn't put you in this position unless it was necessary for your evolution. You think that we would guide you and lead you somewhere where you didn't need to be? Oh, how foolish of you. How foolish of you to think something so minute and something so small and something so minuscule to your being and who you are. Yeah, no. We have you here in this position because we know we're going to put you in a place that is going to always lead you in the places that you need to be and help you see clearly. Because this isn't about getting and being successful. It's not about any of that. It's quite frankly the opposite of that. Right? It's not being successful in the physical. It's how you can succeed in self and what you can learn deeper, regardless of what you go through. If you succeed or fail in life, I don't truly feel like there's a failing. There's no passing grade to any of this. Even though this is a school of life, you pass when you're able to break cycles and you're able to learn from your mistakes or your lessons or whatever the case. That's when you pass. That's when you pass. But also, I feel like you can pass when you're not learning from them. I feel like you can. I feel like you're able to. I feel like there's this knowing and trust and spirit that's like, you're gonna learn, or if not, you're gonna be on the opposite end of the scale, which we need you to. We need you on the opposite end of the scale because that's what balance is. Some people don't learn. Some people don't get it. Some people are non-player characters in this bitch, all right? And they're necessary for the evolution of life as well. That's all right, because we love you too. But that's all I really want to come on here and say. Um, I hope that this message helps everyone in their evolution and evolving and seeing things clearly and loving themselves deeper. I know it's a bit brass or a little bit, whatever the case, whatever you can describe it as is what it is. But see, what I describe it as magical and innovative and optimistic. And when you're able to take risk in life, then you're able to really expand and open up your mind, because you see the capabilities that you have inside of yourself when you're able to see things differently from a different perspective and experience life from a different reality. Okay. But that's all I really wanted to say. I love you guys. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being here. And thank you for just overall being who you are authentically and continuing to be who you are authentically, because you know when you lie into yourself. And some people lie to themselves so much that they believe that shit. And I know sometimes, like, I'll be like, deny. But at the end of the day, my spirit guides will always tell me what's right for me and what I need to be learning. So that's the same for you. Do what you gotta do for yourself, do what you gotta do for your heart, and do what you gotta do for your mind. Peace, peace.